Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Personal Trainers Who Care. I'm joined today by Emilie Wilcox. So I was connected to her because she's super into the nervous system regulation space. She's a management consultant and a career coach who helps people navigate their careers and any potential experiences they have with burnout and how that might be affecting their career. She also has a personal experience with burnout, chronic pain. She's a super active person. I'm going to let her sort of explain her story. But I think she's sort of the perfect combination of career person, wellness person. And I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation because we'll be able to deep dive into nervous system regulation and the importance of that and how that affects literally everything in your life from your health to your career, which is sort of a domino effect. But I'm going to hand it off to her and let her tell her story of how this all started. It's harrowing, but amazing. Thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. And yeah, I'll just start from the beginning. I think it's probably a little before my chronic pain. I'll start from where I was. So I'm a management consultant and a career coach, and I was my whole life I've been very achievement driven. So I was sort of someone who lived like a high octane lifestyle of like 150% all the time. I felt like I could multitask. I was always had 17 things on the go, and I was always everywhere that I needed to be. And when I showed up, I was 100% in. I wasn't, I couldn't show up at 50%. So it was always all in all the time. And I thought that was a secret to success, if I was completely honest. I thought that that's why I ran businesses and I had success in my career. And it was to some degree, I think, maybe at the beginning, but over time that caused nervous system dysregulation, which I didn't really realize that's what it was. I was sort of like addicted to the adrenaline of that kind of lifestyle. And I didn't realize that was causing some sort of the cortisol effects of that were causing some issues. It did start showing up in 2024 in what I called situational anxiety. So I was having things like panic attacks or feeling unsafe in like actually safe environments. And I kind of knew that was a problem, but I was put it on a shelf and thought, okay, I'll deal with that, but not right now. Like I've got too much to do. Mm-hmm. And it all culminated in 2024, Labor Day weekend. I went for a hike. I was pretty active. Like I've always been a gym goer and active, and I'd been having some neck issues, but I was also putting that aside.
Yeah.
And then I went for this hike on Labor Day weekend, and I came back from the hike, and I laid down to sort of roll out some of the aches and pains that seemed to be normal, and all of a sudden I was in complete and utter pain. I couldn't get off the floor. It was really scary. I didn't know why I was in so much pain. And I was sort of saying to my partner, like, what's happening? I don't understand. Over the course of the night, it sort of calmed down as I was rolling. And so the next day I decided to get up and I would do a little bit of work. And I was okay for a little bit, but then again, had debilitating pain, couldn't really focus on what I was doing. So I decided, of course, to go for a run. And I was like, okay.
Insane.
Yeah. So here I am in debilitating pain. Like I kind of can't get off the floor. I can't focus on my work, and I'm going for a run. And of course, that did not make it any better. It made it worse. And I sort of started this cycle, so September 2024, where I would try to get better by resting, by like lying down, being on my couch, relaxing, started to see a physiotherapist. And then the second I kind of felt better, I would push again, and I would do things that were outside of what my body was telling me was okay. Mm-hmm. And it was a cycle that I progressed over 3 weeks. And I finally decided that, like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. Like, I'm not getting better. I was in such pain that I couldn't, again, focus. And so I started to go to the physio a couple times a week, went to the massage therapist, also went to the chiropractor. And towards the end of this week that I was really, getting serious about this, I went to the chiropractor, and I was much more relaxed from a muscular perspective, but I was still pretty anxious, and my nervous system was still running on high. He did a really aggressive adjustment on my neck, and within a couple of hours, I went from 100% pain, or what I thought was 100% pain, to 1,000. And I couldn't lie on my back anymore. I had tingles up and down the left side of my body. I had tinnitus, which I still have. I had vertigo. And of course, that panic that I've been talking about was just out of control. So I ended up in the hospital. I got an ambulance to the hospital. And after they checked me for stroke, which I did not have, I got a bunch of scans and everything was fine in terms of like my structure. I had no structural issues. I just had some muscular.
No tissue damage.
No tissue damage.
Yeah.
No nothing like that. And the doctors sent me home and said, in a few weeks you should be okay. And so I thought, okay, this is my rock bottom. This is the worst of it. I'm going to get better from here. And I didn't. I spent like a few weeks multiple weeks became months. And by this point, I was on multiple painkillers, so opioids, nerve painkillers, muscle relaxants, naproxen, which is like strong Advil. I was also then on anti-anxiety meds because my panic attacks had gotten way worse with the pain. It's sort of a vicious cycle. And I went to my doctor in December and I said, I'm not getting any better. I like, what else can you do for me? And he basically said, I've given you all the meds I can't do anything else. And so I was obviously devastated, but I am the person I am. And I was like, this isn't going to be my life. I'm not going to let this be who I am and define the rest of my life. So I started to learn about pain and chronic pain and the nervous system. And I'd already had some sense of it, but I really buckled down and started to learn. And what I learned was that there's a pain called neuroplastic pain, which is pain that, and I'm going to say this in a very layperson's way, this is not a medical, let's caveat, this is not medical definition in any way, but essentially neuroplastic pain is pain that is created in the brain long after tissue or structural damage is in place in order to protect you from whatever that thing was that caused that pain in the first place. Yeah. And so because it's after tissue damage, it's not acute, it's not structural. It's scary, but the good news is that it's not just manageable, it's reversible. So if you can get there, if your brain can learn to be in pain, you can learn to be out of pain. Yep. And so I started a journey. It was a year ago now, so it was February 2025. I sat 2 minutes a day, twice a day. That was all.
Because you couldn't sit.
Because I couldn't sit.
Yes,
I couldn't sit for more than 2 minutes a day or 2 minutes at one time.
Well, where was the pain for you at that point? Was it radiating up your back, from your tailbone or something? Or what was this?
Good question. It was actually in my neck. So I'd had neck issues for a while, and it was almost like I felt like a bobblehead. So and that my head was going to fall off. So every time I would sit up, it was like my neck wasn't strong enough to hold my head on. Yeah. And so that would cause dizziness, it would cause nausea, and it would be so debilitating that I would just have to lay down. Yeah. And so that was, and I mean, over time it went different places. We can talk about that, but that was the initial real symptom, was just complete debilitating, neck bobblehead.
My God.
It was a very medical term too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the story.
Horrifying, first of all. And so you said you started sitting 2 minutes a day and then you built up from there. Mm-hmm. What was your pain experience like during that time? It was you would feel pain at 2 minutes and it would be okay, that's all I can handle. And then you'd try again and you were like, okay, I can handle it until 4 minutes. And then you'd keep going up like that, or?
That's right. It's essentially a form of exposure therapy. I don't know if people are familiar, but when people have fears of, say, dogs or maybe airplanes, there's a type of therapy where you would expose people to things like videos of a dog, and then you might have them meet a puppy, and then you might have them pet the puppy, and it's sort of as you go, you lose your fear of the thing.
Yes.
So when chronic pain becomes neuroplastic pain, there is a fear that's associated with that pain because the pain's so intense, and nobody wants to be in pain. We all have been in pain. Nobody wants that. So you create this anxiety and fear about pain, but it becomes a cycle. Yeah. And so you essentially have to expose yourself to the pain while telling your nervous system that you are actually safe.
Safe. Yeah. So true. Yeah. I know. And it's crazy how much it can spiral, because I've had clients before, I've experienced it myself, where there's just nothing that you can do to tell yourself or tell that person that they're going to be okay doing that, especially when you're so afraid of re-injury and when the fear of actual tissue injury is looming in your brain, which is interesting because you said that you didn't have that. It was a pain experience, likely because your nervous system was freaked out because he just aggressively adjusted your neck, which is an extremely important part of your body and fragile. So to go from there to have to try to teach yourself how to use your head, first of all, because you felt like a bobblehead. And that was only when you were sitting down or when you were...
It was when I was standing too. It was just better. Weirdly, I was better when I moved than when sitting still. So sitting still was the thing that was the worst. I really don't know why that was, but it was... Yeah, it was essentially sitting was the worst, and then standing still would be the next worst, and then like moving a little bit would be okay, but then after the movement, it would be so bad that it was a combination of different things.
Yeah, so you basically have to teach yourself that it's okay, feel the pain too, because I think that's part of the fear. I think like you start to get afraid of injury, but you're also afraid of feeling the pain. Altogether. It's terrible. Sorry. My eyes are watering like crazy. I'm not crying. It's just so emotional.
It's dry in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's true. Like what I've learned through nervous system regulation, it's not just about pain, but it can be applied to things like emotions too, for example. Like learning how to sit with something that is frightening or uncomfortable. So one of the things that I've learned in this whole process is tolerating discomfort to a degree that is safe. Yeah. So like teaching your body to tolerate discomfort in order to achieve something, but not push past the limits that your body is naturally giving you. And it's like a very thin line of both. So it's like I had to sit on, I had an exercise ball. So I was in my living room on this exercise ball, and I would sit there for 2 minutes or 4 as I progressed. And it was about knowing that for those 4 minutes I was capable, that I had enough muscles in my back and my neck to do it, even if I was in pain, and breathing through it. But then not like if I was feeling good one day, not trying to do 8 minutes after I'd done 4 the day before, but like really trusting that if I went slowly and steadily, that would increase over time, but not trying to push to the 30 minutes before I was ready.
Yeah, so true. And I think that's also like such a central concept of progressive overload in general. Like I think the term progressive overload is well known in the fitness space or in the muscle building space for being a situation where you lift heavier weights over time, but you're not just forcing yourself to lift heavier weights just because of the weeks in the calendar. You're you're lifting heavier weights because of your ability to perform better week after week. Progressive overload means that, the week before you could only do 3 reps, but suddenly 3 reps feels easy this week. So now you're doing 4, which is the same concept with the pain thing is you're not forcing yourself to do 6 because you were able to do 4 yesterday, but rather let's see if I can do 4 again, or let's see what feels good today, and really being grounded in your body and feeling what you should be feeling instead of being obsessed with weeks on the calendar, where your progress is going, which is such a progress and productivity obsessed frame of mind, where your body doesn't care about how much effort, how much emotional pain, how much time you're spending doing something. It cares about specific inputs that it can manage at any point in time, and it's just going to give you what it's able to.
Yes.
In the moment. It's not going to be like you can't force yourself, blame your body, obsess about progress to get there.
Well, and I think that I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think I used my body as a tool previously. Like I saw it as an extension of my brain, and I wanted my brain to control what my body was doing. And if it wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, then I would just force it to do it anyway.
Exactly.
Whether that was stay up late to get something done, push through tiredness, do more events than I needed to in a week, like whatever those things were, I was pushing all the time instead of listening to, like what you said, the body's, all the inputs that are going in, the physiological response my body was having to those inputs, those inputs stress, emotions, physical exercise, or physical exertion of other kinds, illness. Like, I was the type of person who never took a day off to be sick. And I'm sure that your listeners are the same. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that completely resonate with, yes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're taught that. We're taught, our society is grounded in, I mean, grind culture, et cetera, but that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important to, so like, as I've been just getting out of pain, but then also emerging into the world of like moving my body, it's about moving my body with purpose and listening to what it's capable of doing today. And that means maybe it's not capable of what it's doing yesterday, but like you say, week over week, I'm progressing because I'm listening. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can actually do that 4th rep.
Yes, so true. I'm so curious to hear about how you manage your schedule now and how you say no, I guess, because I think that's one of the hardest parts of managing your time, is that you're not just managing your time, you're managing the people around you. Because when you're in business, when you're a busy person, when you work on a team, like, you're accountable to other people. You can't just say no because your body is tired or because you're having an off day. So it's like, do you set your schedule up for success? Do you listen to your body and immediately make changes? Do you sit in the discomfort for a while? Because I think it's super interesting where we're sort of at a cultural impasse where people are like, listen to your body and be kind to yourself. And, you know, people on the other side of the camp are sort of like, oh, suck it up, you're fine. Like, we have such a soft culture where people are like, oh, we're so privileged. We have such a culture of convenience. We spend so much time like in a sedentary way. And this is true. But then at the same time, there's like the grind set kind of type of life. And, you know, there's a lot of studies that show a lot of people are technically very active, more so than they actually used to be, in a more like, people exercise, specifically exercise more than they ever had, but that doesn't mean that they're more active necessarily. So people had more casual activity before, but now it's, people are doing more and more and more and more. So it's causing a lot of stress.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So that was sort of long-winded, but my initial question was, where, I guess, in which camp do you sort of sit? Are you somewhere in the middle of being like, how do you set up your schedule? And yeah, all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good question. I think you brought up a ton of good points. I mean, for anybody, not just someone who's had chronic pain, but so I think I'm definitely in the middle now. I'm still navigating. Like, I'm still not, I don't know if I'll ever be, like, I'm going to put it in air quotes, 100%, because I can stand and sit for up to like 7-8 hours now, but that's still not a full day, for example, or,
Right.
you know, like a full travel day if you were going to go overseas. Like, I don't know if I haven't tried that. So I'm not sure. But I'm able to, I've been able to sort of navigate over the last few months since I've come back to work a balance, that's changed. Like, as I progress, the balance has changed. What I find interesting is that I was really adamant when I started to go back to work and I started to talk about this more, that I was going to find my boundaries and I was going to put them up and I was going to make sure that I put my health first. And I still really believe that, but I agree with what you're saying. Like, you are accountable to other people. And like, when you're on a team, you know, if you have agreed to do something, you're not just going to say, I'm tired, I'm not going to do that thing. What I've found is so there's a couple of things that I want to talk about when you ask that question. So the first thing is that in terms of scheduling, I do think that being really agile, I guess, for lack of a better term, is helpful. So being able to, like, when I've had pain in coming back to work, I have made a point of addressing the pain first. So if I can move something that's not 100, that I don't have to do, if I can change the dates of something I've agreed to, then I move those out of the way so that I put taking care of my body first.
Yeah.
And I think that, And will say I lie down every day and do a yoga nidra no matter what. I make sure I do one a day every day because it resets my nervous system and allows my body to just
Relax.
exhale. Yeah. And I like yoga nidra is what I use. There's tons of different techniques, but it actually like I can feel the difference between when I first lie down and when I get up from a yoga nidra and how my nervous system is.
Yeah.
So those are two things, like the agility and then taking some time for my nervous system. But then the other thing is that I've learned about boundaries, which you asked about, is that boundaries actually are more, it's not navigating other people. It's actually being able to hold your no. So like being able to say no, but then holding it yourself. Like if I say, no, I'm not going to do that thing tomorrow. And then I have an hour that comes up and I could use that to lie down and take care of myself, or I could push through and get this thing done that I had originally said yes to, but then I said no to. I'm the type of person that's probably, I would lean towards getting the thing done.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying hard. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm really trying hard to hold my own no. To say, okay, if I've said that's my boundary, then to keep that boundary and allow myself the space.
Yes, it's so true, the allowing yourself thing, because I think there is a lot of shame with that. Like we feel, I know I personally experience it. Like if I say no to something, a new client, another session for a client, or, whatever it is, like something that I agreed to, saying no is so hard, especially when you're working with other people because you disappoint them. But it's crazy because when other people tell me no, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll just reschedule then. And it's like, what?
Like, it's actually not that big of a deal.
That's fine. Like, no worries. And it's so crazy that we have this. I mean, I guess I don't know if everyone reacts that way, but because sometimes it definitely is an inconvenience to be told no, but.
I mean, it's about a prioritization too. I think it's not always saying no. Like I do think that you have to, some days you're going to have to work through it. Some days you're going to have to pay attention. So to what's going on in your body, even when you're doing the thing that's hard. So there's a technique in pain reprocessing therapy called somatic tracking. And somatic, if people don't know, I'm sure they do because of the type of podcast we're on, but is about like being in your body.
Yes.
And so somatic tracking is really tracking sensations within your body to see how they react when you track them. And when you do this for chronic pain, you're doing it often to track what the pain actually feels like. So if I have pain in my neck, I'm pointing to my neck here because it was often in my left side of my neck. And it was like, is it throbbing? Is it tingling? Is it on fire? Is it like, what is the actual sensation I'm having? But then you also move away from the part that's quote unquote in pain to somewhere where you either have no sensation or a pleasant sensation. And you would track that and see how that reacts.
Oh, I've heard of this. Yes. I read something recently. I think someone was talking about doing that exact technique where they assign a color to somewhere that's completely pain-free. I don't know if the color really has anything to do with it. I think you could just do it without the color. But you think about and focus on one part of your body that's completely pain-free, and then focus on the pain wherever it is, and then really, really, really focus on those, and then it can start to disappear, or the feeling that you're sitting with in the place that doesn't have any pain at all starts to transfer or sort of melt into the place that does have pain. I have heard about these somatic exercises like that before.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily going to. Like I think
for sure.
That's the thing, is that there's something about the exercise, and it's kind of like that balance I was saying of not pushing too hard, but also not being afraid of pushing a little bit. It's the same sort of balance as like going into it without an expectation of outcome, with just actually just trying to understand and be curious about what the pain feels like versus what the non-pain feels like. I experienced I'd say 95% of the time, the pain experience changed. It didn't always go away, but it changed.
Yeah.
And I actually got a stomach bug while I was still in pain, and I was able, like it was a true stomach bug, and I was able to somatic track the feelings in my stomach of nausea that made me realize that nausea is actually just a form of pain. And like it was kind of fascinating. I was like, oh, that's what that is. Like that's a throbbing feeling or a tingling feeling, and it's like there's a whole bunch of sensations that are going on at all times in our bodies that we're just not really paying attention to. And honestly, if we were, we'd be overwhelmed.
For sure. And the discomfort of having a sensation like nausea and what we attach that to, because the experience of throwing up is so terrible.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm the same way. If someone else in my house is throwing up,
Oh, yeah.
oh, immediately, I'm going to throw up. Like, I'm
Of
so
course.
sick. It's like, oh, maybe I have to throw up, even if it's like not even a bug. Like, they just ate something bad or
Yes.
something, you know? It's like you start to convince yourself. And, you know, there's times where I'd be laying there and I'm like, oh, no, I think I'm going to throw up. And then I end up throwing up, because you start to get so consumed by the emotional experience of being like, oh God, I can't throw up. And it's the same thing with pain. It's like, oh God, what's going to happen if I feel this pain? Inevitably you feel that pain because life is painful, and
Yeah.
it's a catastrophe. And it's so funny that you say that, because it's the exact same process that I take with clients. Is we take this curious mindset where we are going to move. Okay, let's see how this feels for you today. You text me and let me know after this if you're in pain after, because that's just going to give us information about what we should or shouldn't do. And it'll give us a better plan for next time. And those clients, they have so much success because they start to be more, they have more agency around their pain, and they start to realize, oh, wait, no, I actually have a little bit of control over this. And if I am in pain, it's just information, and I can move beyond this. And they start to have a more complex view of their pain, where it's like, I think for a lot of people, it's so personal, and it's like, oh, there's something mechanically wrong with me. I'm malformed. I'm defective. There's like this mechanical idea about it, which sometimes there is a mechanical component, but they start to move away from that, and then they start to think like, okay, wait, I had a really stressful day at work. I slept weirdly. I am on my period, or I'm about to get my period, or I wore shoes that I knew weren't going to be good. And they say like, I gave myself pain, you know, whereas before they would have had no idea to look in all these different places where they get more information about how their body reacts to your environment, because all of these things are inputs for your body, and your body is just reacting to what you give it. So you can't blame it, because
No. And I think, and I should add too, that mechanical, like whether I don't have any sort of structural issue that could explain the pain that I had in my neck, but doesn't mean I don't have structural things. Like I'm in my 40s, where I have some structural things going on in my body, and that means I'm going to have pain. But I think that the other takeaway there is that like being aware of those things can help you not be afraid of the movements that are actually going to help you strengthen those areas that might have structural issues.
Yes.
Right? Because those areas, if you start to, so they put it this way in like pain reprocessing therapy. If you have like hip or lower back pain, and you think that you can't sit on a soft chair, and you stopped sitting on soft chairs because that hurts your back, then your body reacts. It starts to know that you can't sit on a soft chair. So even before, if you go somewhere and the only chair left is a soft chair, your brain is going to subconsciously, like there's a neural pathway that is going to form that is going to tell your body to be in pain just looking at that soft chair.
So true.
And it's like we condition ourselves before we are even in the moment. So, and I mean, I've done a lot of brain retraining. That's a large part of this too, of retraining, sort of like responding rather than reacting, in order to teach the brain a different neural pathway. And that's essentially what that is like, if you have a structural issue, not to say you push and again, you don't push and over push, but your body is capable of doing things. It has the strength, it has the muscles. It is actually naturally intended to move the ways that you were built, right? We kind of get in our own way of those things, I find.
No, so true. So true. And we start to get emotional about the experience that we're having, which is normal. It's not to say that there's any shame in that, but we start to attach those experiences to our identity, to who we are. And then it's such a vicious cycle, because you're having an emotional experience of having pain, and then you start to attach it to who you are. It's like, oh, I have issues. I am like someone with, I don't know, chronic pain, and it becomes your identity. And then it's like, you start to expect it, and it's just
it is a cycle.
Vicious cycle.
It is a vicious cycle, and it's hard to break. Like I also want to make sure it's clear, like these aren't easy things. Like sitting with discomfort isn't easy. It's not easy to treat something. Like we go automatically to to the muscular, to the structural, to the mechanical, because that's what our healthcare system has taught us. That's what we're like Western. I'm not a healthcare professional, so this is all caveated.
Yeah.
But I think we were taught that if there's pain or if there's an issue, it has to be structural, muscular, mechanical. And it's hard to think that it might actually be something just changing your perspective on things or breathing a bit differently. Like there's a ton of science around breath and the nervous system and pain. And can I just say one more thing too? There's been a study recently, I think it's out of Stanford, that it was in the States, but they estimate that up to 48% of the population have neuroplastic symptoms. So not necessarily pain, but neuroplastic symptoms, meaning things from like IBS to migraine to chronic fatigue is one that comes up a lot. I'm not a healthcare expert. I'm not saying these from like medical perspective, but this study has shown that there's a whole bunch of symptoms that we create in our bodies in order to sort of guard and protect ourselves. Yep. And it's fascinating that if we think that maybe we could, instead of looking to medication, not that those things are bad. Yeah. But like, and other ways, there's other things we could do. Yes. That could bring ourselves into a bit more regulation that could help, maybe not take it away, but bring us into a place where we can live life a little bit more freely.
Well, your nervous system is the like puppet master of every single system in your body. So if something's not functioning right and you're not able to heal, the likelihood that your brain and body is in a state of fight or flight is pretty high, and you're unable to wind back and give your body the tools to heal itself, because and that's, you got to be careful saying stuff like that these days, because obviously people would run with that and be like, no, you can cure cancer. You don't have to go to the doctor. But the idea is that you give your body the tools and the environment to heal more efficiently, more effectively, by slowing down, by shifting into a rest and digest mode, by breathing slower, by not overstimulating yourself constantly. And I think we have such a barrage of stimulants, and we are constantly being stimulated, overstimulated. Our nervous systems are just being fried day in, day out, because our environments suck. We're looking at screens all day. We're getting LED lights constantly. No natural sunlight. People aren't going outside, walking as much as they used to, especially in the wintertime. It's super hard. And we're going so fast all the time. Everyone's breathing is really bad. It's really bad. Like every single person who walks in has work to do on their breathing, and it's reflected in the research too. Something like 80% of people struggle from some sort of breathing dysfunction. So you got to start with the nervous system, and you got to reel it all in. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much of what they're doing is an effect or an offshoot of their nervous system. Like, you are behaving that way because your nervous system is fried, and you are also feeling that way because your nervous system is fried, and because you keep doing that, you keep frying your nervous system. So it's just like a
vicious circle. Yeah. And it is hard to break. I mean, there are some things that people can do, I think, that can sort of break the cycle in small ways. Like, one of the techniques that I learned was an anchoring technique. So when I was panicked, particularly at the beginning of my journey, I was having a lot of panic attacks, like I said. And so that anxiety, when I would get into anxiety, I learned how to create like a small movement. So for me, there was one where I would rub my forearm, for example, and so I had to practice it and get the feeling and get that feeling into when I was rubbing my forearm. But I would practice feeling like everything was going to be okay, and I had all the tools I needed to get through this journey. And I would feel that, like feel it in my body that was the truth. And I would rub my forearm. And once I started to create that that neural pathway, I was able to, when I was in anxiety, rub my forearm and immediately call up that feeling of it was going to be okay. And that's a very simple, like it's a little bit of a hack, but it is actually something that anybody can do. You can do it by rubbing your fingers together. You can cross your fingers. You can do like these little motions. And as long as you've associated them to a particular feeling, you can sort of break that cycle of that anxiety creeping up, or of, I don't know, if you react a certain way to a certain person in your life and you can feel it coming on, like there's little ways you can sort of hack into your nervous system and stop. Another thing that they say, like going out in the cold weather is really good. So getting cold on your face, some people put their face in cold water, in ice water, but that actually, it starts your parasympathetic nervous system, or your rest and digest. Yeah. And so getting into parasympathetic as many times as you can during the day when you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious or like you're about to shut down, those are really helpful things to kind of break that cycle.
Yeah. The best breathers, the most relaxed people, the most regulated people, they're people who bounce into a parasympathetic state naturally, which is the rest and digest mode, because your nervous system has the sympathetic portion of the nervous system and the parasympathetic, and you're switching between those constantly, even with every breath, because every inhale triggers the sympathetic nervous system and every exhale triggers the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you want to trigger that rest and digest mode, you need to learn how to exhale, to remove tension from your diaphragm, to down regulate the nervous system, to increase the amount of CO2 in your blood, which dilates your blood vessels, which helps blood flow more naturally. It dilates your airway so you can breathe more easily. So there's a reason why you get paper bags, like when you're having a panic attack, because you're breathing in the CO2 over again. So it helps to dilate your blood vessels, your airways, and helps to calm everything down. And you start to slow down your breathing naturally. So literally just slowing down your breathing can have a huge impact on your entire nervous system. And it's like, you don't need all these fancy tools. You don't need to like even all those grounding techniques are fantastic, but literally just exhaling is enough. No, absolutely. Like, because if it gives you that grounding, but if you can't even bring yourself to do that because you're like, oh, I don't even know what to do. I can't remember the technique. Like, what do I do? Exhale.
That's
like
fair.
It's
true. No, you're right.
True.
Like there's a whole bunch of different techniques that I've learned over the year and a half that this has happened. But actually that's the one that is the most consistent. Like, and you feel it immediately. Yeah. Right. Like if you take a breath and then you exhale, especially if you exhale for a long time, you can feel your whole body just sort of sinking.
Yes.
It's like grounding itself.
Yes. 100. And it gets back to a sort of a baseline or a homeostasis where you can come back and forth. Because if you're constantly hyperventilating, constantly inhaling, that creates a lot of tension in your entire body. And that's sort of an interesting situation where the mechanical becomes physiological, because your blood chemistry changes, your emotional state changes, and it just keeps looping back and forth. And then the emotional state impacts the physiological, it impacts your breathing. You start to get more anxious because you're like, oh my God, why am I breathing like this? And that increases the heightened state of the nervous system, and it just keeps going. So starting with that exhale, and I think it's super interesting to hear about you talking about your yoga nidra and the specific techniques that you do. All of it sort of comes into breathing. Mm-hmm. Breathe into the position that you want to feel. Breathe into the position that you need to be able to sit in, because you're literally telling your nervous system, hey, I can breathe here. Because if you can breathe somewhere, your nervous system says, hey, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can't breathe, that signals, freaking out. And a lot of people, when they're in pain or when they're going into a position they're afraid to get into, they stop breathing. They hold their breath. When they're doing something new, a new skill, whatever, they start holding their breath because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. But if you tell your brain, hey, I can still breathe here, it's chill,
then it's a game changer.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's that safety. That comes back to safety. And I think that's all linked to the breathing too, is like essentially what you're doing when you are exhaling is telling your nervous system that it's safe. Yeah. And which is again, parasympathetic, sympathetic, like that's the parasympathetic. It's kind of like the sympathetic is like when you're on the savannah and you see the saber-toothed tiger and your blood, automatically your blood is going to your muscles and your heart, and so it pumps so you can run away.
Yeah.
Or you can, if it's not a saber-toothed tiger and it's another, I don't know, it's something else, and you can fight it off. So that's your fight or flight.
Yeah.
But then usually what would happen is you would run away to safety, and then you would
relax. Yes.
And then go into parasympathetic. And I think you were talking about it earlier, in our world of like constant 24/7 news and notifications and just all of the different inputs that we have, we kind of don't have that ability to like de-escalate or just come into a safe place. So I think that's part of it, is just that exhale, that ability to sit with something is telling your nervous system that actually we're safe. Yeah. And it's weird because safety is a weird term in a world that we're in, where we kind of feel a little bit uneasy. COVID went on for 2 years, and like there's been a lot of things that make us feel uneasy. Yeah. And what I found is that the safety is like safe in here, like safe in me. Yeah. Like if I can trust that I am safe in this moment, in this right where I am right now, whether I'm in pain, whether I'm not, then I can kind of move from here.
Yeah. And that sort of gives you an agency back, where even if all this is crazy, like I can still sit back in myself. And I think that's where a lot of people don't feel safe, because they feel so uncomfortable even sitting in their own emotions, sitting in their own body, that they have no reprieve or nowhere to go. Because the outside world is crazy. You look at your phone, it's crazy. You can't sleep because you're so anxious. So that's crazy. It's like you can't even sit in yourself. And when you take that away from yourself, and when you don't build that skill, you have nowhere to go. It's like, that's got to be a very lonely feeling, and you're not going to recover. You're not going to recover in that situation from anything that you're doing. It doesn't, even outside of a working out situation or a personal training situation. It's just like you are not going to recover from your day to day, and it's just going to be.
Well, then you're going to end up in the situation that I was in, and that's why I'm trying to talk about it, so that people can understand. Like, you don't have to get to the place that I was in order to be able to stop the cycle. Yes. And I think that we can stop the cycle way earlier than when I think there's a lot of people with symptoms out there. I know that I had symptoms prior to this happening to me. I just didn't recognize them. Yeah. And I think like just talking more about the nervous system, making it less woo-woo, because it's not woo-woo. It's actually science. Like, this is the thing, like you said, it controls every system in our body, and it is the thing we kind of like, we talk about nervous systems, and then it's like, well, what is a nervous system? And it's actually your brain and your nerves throughout your body that are innervating and like telling, it's all the information that's passed through your body, right? Like, and there's so much information, and it's so intelligent, and yet it's also like an on-off switch. Like it's
making decisions for you all the time, understanding and inputting the decisions that you're making. Like, it's everything that your nervous system is doing is to protect you. And if you're burning out and you're shutting down, it's because your body is literally saying, stop doing this. I can't do this anymore.
It's your body is literally telling you. Like, I said that it screamed at me. It yelled at me. First it was like, hello. And then it was yelling at me. And then it was screaming at me. And then it actually just threw me on the floor and was like, could you lie down now, please? Yes. And it's not, I also want to say, like, it's not something I did. I don't feel like I wasn't responsible for it. It was just that those circumstances and the lack of understanding of how those things worked together got me to where I was. And it's not like it was my fault. It's just that's what happened to me.
No, exactly. That is what happened to you. And I think you're just a product of, your type A personality, the environment that you're in, your goals, your nervous system, everything. And it pushes you along. And it's so easy to get caught up in trying to put the pedal to the metal to the things that you're trying to get done. But your body don't work like that. Yeah.
And then, basically it's being like, what? Why won't you come along?
No, exactly.
And my body being like, because we're tired.
Let's just please.
Can we please lie down for a minute?
I need a nap.
Can I have a nap? Yeah.
A glass of milk, maybe.
Like, we haven't watched a movie in a while.
Yeah.
Have a movie night.
So good. So good. And it's so hard to find that middle ground, because We're getting so much information about you are not doing enough. You are sedentary. You need to be running 3 times a week, and you need to make sure that you're doing a high intensity session and a low intensity session and a medium intensity session. And then you also need to meal prep, and you need to strength train and meditate and cold plunge and sauna. And the people who do this live super long, and it's like, shut up. Stop talking.
I feel like I'm laughing as you're saying that because that is exactly the messaging we're getting. And especially as women with like, I'm in the middle of perimenopause, and it's like, okay, but for perimenopause, it changes, and you're supposed to lift heavy, but you're not supposed to do HIIT, and you're supposed to there's all this new information coming out, and it is really overwhelming. And how much protein are you supposed to eat? Like, and I'm not saying that's wrong, but it just feels like all I'm doing is putting protein powder into everything.
No, it's so true. And it's like, it's so fascinating that I know this isn't a nutrition podcast, but I was just thinking about that yesterday about like how much the fitness culture has pushed towards like eating constantly, like just make sure that you're getting your protein and your macros and all this stuff in. And I think it creates such a disordered eating pattern that pushes people away from listening to their intuitive hunger cues. There's a lot of things around that complicate it because people have different hormone signaling, and, people have the hormones in their body that signal satiety and hunger, fullness. Everyone's different, and some people struggle with that at a baseline, and their body might still feel hungry, but they might have enough calories to sustain their weight. So I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the general, I don't know, I guess zeitgeist that pushes people towards not listening to themselves and operating based on rules all the time. Rules are helpful, but it's like completely disconnects you from what your body is feeling.
But that's exactly, that even though this isn't about nutrition, that's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to pain or any of the other symptoms that you could have, like dysregulation of like nervous system dysregulation, burnout, all of the things that come before like severe pain or severe other symptoms are things. It is because we're not paying attention to our bodies, because we get these messages of like, this is how you're supposed to be. And I mean, the messages are constant now. Like social media is in our faces all the day. And if you're not on social media, you're still getting it from the conversations that you're having with the people in your workplace. And I mean, everybody knows about everything in the world today. So it's constant. It's like in the air around us, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the answer to that is. I just know, all I know is that there is a cycle that you can break by doing some very like minute but really powerful things, like breathing, like a yoga nidra, or some kind of something that does the same thing for you to bring your nervous system back to baseline. And I think that, and then being intentional. I think that's the other thing, is being intentional with your own life, whether it's when you go to the gym or with your schedule, as we talked about earlier, or with what you prioritize in terms of your of the activities in your life. Like if you have kids, you're probably prioritizing kids, but does that mean that some of your work stuff gets put to the side? Like maybe
you just gotta suck it up. It's crazy. I think taking things slow and self-forgiveness are the two most important skills in this sphere, because you don't get anywhere blaming yourself, and you need to listen to yourself and what your body feels like and what it needs to know how to proceed. Like intuition and self-forgiveness.
Yeah. Self-compassion. I have that. That's a reminder in my phone every day at 5 p.m. Self-compassion.
Oh,
and it's just a reminder to go back through the day and like give myself a break. Like if I've had a hard day, if I'm having an emotion that I need to process, this is new. This is not something I did before, but self-compassion is huge to healing from pain as well. Like there's a number of components, obviously, but it's still a reminder in my phone, because like if I don't take that moment to just be like, it's all good, you're okay.
Yeah.
When I was in pain, I used to say, this sucks. This really, really sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
Like it sucks, and it still sucks.
Which is so nice. I love to complain.
But it's
so good.
But it's
like,
also
just
like,
let it out.
Just let it be and let
Yeah.
it be what it is. Like I can't do anything today. Like I'm doing all I can today. I'm doing the best I can today. And like, that's like, you talked about slow. I've learned how to go slow and steady and track progress from my minutia.
Yeah.
Like, tiny little implements of progress are still progress.
So true.
Like we see all these massive, we're bombarded by like people achieving things and like overnight success. And, and it's like, you know what?
Yes.
You know, I put on real clothes today.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because it's like the world is getting so much bigger. Like instead of like keeping up with the Joneses that are literally like right next door or like right across the street from you, it's like now you're keeping up with Sally Mae in Texas, and you're like, oh, why does she have this?
Yeah.
Or, you know, and it's like,
and it's all curated, right? Like it's not real.
Curated, and God, social media is ruining our lives, I think.
Unfortunately, and yet it gives us glimpses. It's also like it can galvanize too. It's a weird both and.
I know, and it's like it's so hard. Like, what do you do for that? Like, do you set limits for yourself for like social media, for screen time? Because like that is I honestly think it's one of the biggest enemies for people who are struggling with nervous system dysregulation, because it's like you're already busy with work and everything else that life has to give you, and then like it's time to rest. You're at home and we're just scrolling on our phones. Like, why are we doing that?
I mean,
it's like, well, because our nervous systems are sick. And we're not used to sitting. It's dopamine, and these tech companies
know how to tag into that.
Yeah,
but yeah. I'm not like social media isn't like my Achilles heel necessarily. So I've kind of luckily, not that I don't scroll, but I'm not like a big doom scroller.
Yeah.
But I do find that I set myself limits. Like if I find that something that if it's triggering me in some way, then I'll actually take it off my phone for a few days.
Yeah. Same thing.
In order to give myself the space to relax. And I mean, there's been some triggering events obviously in the past few months, so that's happened a few times. I also if I'm completely honest, I really like watching cat videos.
Hell yeah.
Like my partner says that the internet should just be cat videos, and we would, or dog, insert or bunny videos. Like if we could just. So there's that.
It's such I know. It's like, it's interesting because sometimes I'm on social media and I'm like giggling my pants off, and it's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, wow, this is the best thing ever. And then I see something so terrible the next second. And I'm like, wow, this is really, really bad for my brain and not healthy. So it's hard. I think the solution is honestly just to be able to step back and be like, okay, wait, maybe I should get off my phone.
Self-aware and self-compassion.
Go for a walk or something.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, self-compassion. That's it. Maybe we should call that the title of the episode or something. Yeah, what do you think is like the overarching theme? Would you agree? Is that what it is for you?
Self-awareness, self-compassion. Yeah. And I like that I haven't said it much, but you've said it a few times. And I think it's really important is also agency. So the ability to respond, not just react. Like that you always have some agency no matter what you're feeling, because you always have the ability to respond to something and not react to it. You always have the ability to sit for 2 minutes and tell your body that it's safe even though you're in pain. You always have the minute, like whatever, insert whatever here, right? Like you can always give your body a different input it's hard.
Yeah.
Like you always have the ability to do that.
Oh, you're so right, actually. Agency is such a good idea because it's like it puts you in the driver's seat. And, the world isn't happening to you. You can exert control on the world. You can make your own decisions and you can control. You can influence a lot.
Yes.
You can influence a lot. You can't control, but you can influence.
And you can decide to put your phone down. It's hard. You can put your phone down. You can go to the personal training session that you're afraid of. You can do some form of movement in a place that is hurting you. Yeah,
that hurts. You can do that.
You can go
literally
for a walk
do things
when it's cold outside and you don't want to, but you know it would be good for your mental health and it would give you a little you can make those decisions, and they're not easy, but you can.
It's so true. God, it's so simple. I feel like the solutions are always just standing us right in the face, and we're like, no, but what supplement do I need?
Yeah, it's so true,
No,
right?
God,
Like,
no, please
could
help.
you just give me a pill? Like,
What do I need though? Who do I need to see? It's like the whole time you just need to sit down for a second.
It's like we're just telling you to exhale.
Just sit in the sun and breathe a little bit,
Yeah,
maybe.
get some vitamin
And
D and-
you'll literally be fine. You're so fine. It's so crazy. We love to catastrophize, and it's also like, because we're seeing it constantly. It's like, oh, what's the next thing that I need? Like, why? Please give me another reason why I am unlovable and broken and not doing well enough in life. It's like we're constantly looking for the next solution, the next thing, and it's like, wait, you can actually love yourself. You can actually just, nothing exists. It's fine.
Yeah, you can just have that self-compassion.
Yeah, just have that self-compassion, that agency, and
And that awareness. Yeah.
that's it. Hell yeah. I think that's the episode. I don't know
All
about
right.
you, but I think that's it.
That's fair.
Okay. Any closing remarks?
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything.
No, that was so
we
good. That
wanted
was
to. It
fun.
was fun.
Loved it. Well, okay, wait. Where can people find you? I want to work with you as a career coach or a consultant.
Yeah, so my consulting firm is New Consulting, and we're headquartered in Ottawa. We work across Canada though, and my coaching is just Emilie Wilcox Coaching, and you can find it at emiliewilcox.ca, or you can find me at Emilie Wilcox Coaching on Instagram, I think.
Yeah. Get on that social media
Yeah, go back.
right now. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you guys for watching, listening. I'm sorry. I had a cold today, and I'm just horrified at how my voice is going to sound on this, but thank you guys. Thank you so much. Take care, and we'll talk soon.